But I will tell you something somebody told me one time for talking about meditating. There was a period where I was waking up at like 2 or 2:30 every day, clockwork for like a week. It just, I mean, no joke, every time, same time. And I was like, man, this is too, I don't like to say coincidental because I don't believe in coincidences, but I was like, this is just too random. I don't know. But somebody was like, man, from a spiritual perspective, they were like, that's God waking you up, wanting to talk to you, you know? And I was like, all right, I'll give that some thought. And so I started waking up and like praying, and like, dude, I'd pray and then I'd be able to fall right back asleep. And I'm not the guy that can usually fall back asleep. And I was like, that's pretty awesome, you know? And it wasn't prayer. It was literally conversation in my head, just verbalizing like, you know, hey, you know, just tell me what you need from me. Give me a sign, what you want me, you know, whatever, stuff like that. And it worked.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Now, I'm kind of like realigning myself with my faith, and
I love that.
kind of working on praying a bunch. And Joshua Jarman talked about praying in the last one. And I liked what he talked about because it was talking about a lot of like expressing a lot of your inner thoughts and your concerns and your worries and voicing them out loud so that you can he had a different way of talking about it. Yeah, he articulated it a bit differently. And I'm getting to the point now, and I literally had a conversation last night, which is, I guess, where I'm going with this, is when you're praying, how often is it a conversation? And how often is it like the layers, like this is God.
The traditional
and
format.
I am not on your level to have a conversation.
Yeah, well, you should never feel that way for one. I mean, and I don't know if you had another part. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry, but
No. I mean that was pretty because I was literally like part of my praying. I was talking, and then I get distracted and I go off on totally different tangents. I'm like, oh my God, I totally forgot I was praying to you, and then I was like, am I supposed to talk to you that casually?
So great topic, because this just came up with me personally. Like, I was raised Catholic, and I left the Catholic Church because to me, there's too many layers and too many other, I don't want to call them idols, but roles that you're supposed to pray to, worship to, whatever, right? And for me, after I left the Catholic Church and was looking out for my faith, I got to a couple of places where I was like, you know what? Like, no, the point of all of this is to have a direct relationship with God and to have that vertical relationship where you can just go to him, right? And the transaction there, and I call it a transaction, but it's supposed to be, I have 2 daughters. I want my kids to come to me for everything, good or bad, right? I want them to know that they can rely on me, that I'm going to protect them, that I'm going to help them, but I'm going to hold them accountable. But I just want them to talk to me, and that's the relationship we should have with God. Is we are his children, right? So he wants us to come to him. Is there times like during meals and stuff where I'm like, Lord bless these hands who prepared our food, stuff like that? I'm a little more traditional, or what's it called? Not organized, scripted with my prayer. You know, I go through the traditional things probably, you know, in those moments like that. But I'll give you an example. Like, I think personally I pray best when it's straight from the heart, unrehearsed, unpracticed, like not thought of, you know, like I truly believe it's a Holy Spirit thing. And so for me, there was a friend of ours who just went to college. Their daughter, she's like a niece to me, but they're friends. She's going to be a freshman. She has some anxiety. We went to the house to go wish her well on Friday. And so I bought her a little like devotional journal for her to take to school with her so she can, and it's a daily thing. I bought one for my daughter. I bought one for her, but she can just read in their different topics, and it speaks to the day. But when I gave it to her, I was like, hey, she's about to go. I have to go to a meeting. I was like, you know, let's put our hands on her and let's pray for her, you know? And I know what I was going to say, but like when we put our hands on her, like I held the book and I was just like, Lord, bless the words in these books. Give her the discernment to know that she's your child and that she's completely confident to do anything that she wants to do. In the moments of anxiety, reassure her that, you know, she is stronger than she believes and that you love her more than we ever could. And it was just the organic part of it that came out, and like looking up, you know, her mom's tearing up, you know, I could see my wife touched and stuff like that. But it was because I just had a conversation with him, and I really think that's the purpose, is he wants us to just dialogue with him, you know?
Yeah.
I think the formality, sometimes you lose it because it's more out of obligation than desire.
Right. Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah, I think for me anyway, and I say for my own faith, it's the conversation helps me. Because, God, Eddie Crosby and I talked about this one day, man. I was going to a job interview, and a few years ago now, but I had an hour and a half car ride in front of me because that's how long it took to get to the office. And I was just like, man, I don't want these nerves to be there. And so I turned my radio off and I literally talked to him the whole way up. And I was like, hey, God, just help me understand what you want from me. Like, if this is meant to be for me, let it be clear, right? But regardless, let me find peace with whatever decision comes out of it. It's like, it's not about what I want, but it's about what you want from me. And it was just conversation like that. And man, I went in that interview like you couldn't phase me. I didn't have any nerves about it. Didn't care. I was very, put together. But I also had confidence because I had that dialogue. And so I do think that's how we're supposed to speak with them,
I mean, that does make me feel more comfortable because there is such a disconnect of the formality versus speaking in a conversational tone. I think a conversational tone kind of brings out more of what you're, I don't even know, concerned is the word I'm looking for, but something that's more aligned with your inner self versus formality is such a, like I said, a disconnect.
Yeah.
Because I've got to go through the hoops. I have to say certain things. I can't say certain things. And so I'm like, I don't know. I don't remember. It's been like 15 years. I barely even can recall.
There's people who I think use very good words, maybe smarter words, or, like it seems more obligatory when they're praying. But I do think it's heartfelt. Like some of the guys in my Bible say when they pray, I'm like, man, I wish I could pray like that. But then again, I think like that's from their heart though. That's the way they know it, right? And so I think when we use too much formality with him, purely going off, this is not like it's something preached at church, whatever, right? But
no scripture for this.
Yes, but I think when we use formality with him, I think it would be the same as if my daughter came to me and was like, hey, Dad, I have something I want to ask you. What if da-da-da-da? And I'm like, stop. Just cut to the chase. Tell me what you need. Like, don't try to butter me up. Don't, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's that same approach. So if my daughter just came in and was like, hey, Dad, I was thinking about going to this place later. What would you think if I went and did this and da-da-da? Like, I'd be like, all right, cool. And now straightforward, you're to the point, or sincere, I should say. But when you're trying to con me, like, I don't know.
Hey, that's fair.
Yeah.
And like they say, like he knows you're in and outs. So what loops am I going to talk to? You already understand like what I'm trying. You literally know what I'm coming to you for.
He knows what's on my heart before I ever bring it to him, right? It's
Why do I need to go? I'm like, so then my thought was like, is it a respect kind of thing? And so that's where. But so it's nice to be, I guess not like reminded so much, but reassured.
Yeah.
I think is the word I'm going for here. And on a side note, you went with no hat.
For right now.
That's official.
It's official.
The bald head.
I'll put it back on a little bit. Is the glare too much?
No, it's okay. Y'all, the only reason I talk about this, and by the way, the official introduction, Frankie's back on.
Oh, hey, y'all.
Yeah. The only reason it's funny is because you were talking about the different versions of what you're doing for your hat.
Yeah.
So you didn't even talk about removing it. So I think that's interesting.
I felt like the bill was in my eyes and backwards. Felt like it was too casual. So I don't know.
As long as you're comfortable.
I am comfortable
That's
now.
all that matters.
Yeah. I'm good now. I'm actually going to put my head up here. So yeah. Now I'm comfortable.
I do like that, though. It was a good perspective. And it literally did not plan on asking you at all.
Yeah, no. I love those conversations.
So, yeah, it kind of came out.
Look, I wasn't somebody who would even talk about it a couple of years ago, you know what I mean? So it took me some time. But like now, I talked about this with somebody the other day. There was somebody I talked to who's kind of battling with their faith and kind of losing it, honestly. And I was just like, man, I can't imagine life without my faith, like at this point, because life's hard enough as it is. The reassurance kind of helps me get through the day, and just a relationship. And so not having that, I couldn't imagine like going through life and dealing with some of the news we hear and some of the stuff we get without that promise,
Yeah, it's pretty bleak.
Yeah, it is. And but and it's not just, look, and I don't mean to say it in a way where like I don't like when people compare Christ to like a genie in a bottle, right? Like, you feel better because you can ask him for something and you feel like you'll get it. And that's not true.
Okay.
I don't always get what I ask for, like sometimes my desires are selfish and he's like, nope, that's not good for you right now. And I completely get that, right? Like, so I've learned to walk with like thy will be done approach. Like whatever he sees fit for me, I know what I may want, but that might not be what I need, right? And so I don't look at it as a genie in a bottle because it's faith exercise. Like if you're only doing it, it's a heart posture thing. So if you're only doing it because you think you're going to get rewarded or blessed, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons, right? 100%. But if you're doing it because you're being obedient, like it just feels good. And so for me, I try to walk with that mindset of, hey, I want to be a faithful steward. Like I want to do stuff in the community because I know it's benefiting our community, but I know it makes me feel good to do it too, right? And it's the right thing to do. Love thy neighbor. Like so, I try to be more intentional. We have to be careful though. Like an example, I brought up to a couple guys this morning. We have a text thread for our Bible study group, and so I just sent my Devo for the day that had a couple of scriptures, but I really had to do a deep dive, and I was honest with those guys, and I said, it's causing me to reflect on myself and really ask myself when I do things, am I seeking the world's approval or am I doing it for the right reasons, right? And
Absolutely.
so am I trying to justify something the devil put in my ear and be like, yeah, no, that's the right thing to do because you're a good guy and you're going to get credit for it, right? Or am I doing it because that's what I'm called to do as a Christian and that's what I'm called to do as a person, and that I believe that if I were in that position, somebody would do the same for me, And so anyway, it was a lot of self-reflection, but it's good to have those guys to bounce that off of and just to be have humility about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think a lot of times as men, we're just like, I don't know. They always say you can justify yourself straight to hell. So if you give yourself a reason to, you can sell your own self the lie.
Yeah, I like that phrase.
Yeah.
It's so true, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that just goes even beyond the whole religious aspect. You can justify yourself to such extremes, so the fact that you're completely twisted and blind by what's actually happening, which is interesting because a lot of the times when that happens, deep down you know that what you're doing is probably wrong, and you're having to make up all these reasons of why you're okay to do it.
Yeah.
Like, just be honest with yourself because you're lying to yourself more than anyone else at this point.
They talked about this at church one time, and I was kind of uncomfortable because my kids go to church. Like my oldest sits with me in church, and so, but it's an honest fact. It's a point that needs to be addressed. But pornography is like the highest percentage of division in a marriage, in a man's walk, all that stuff like that, right? And so you might be on Instagram and there's the bikini pics, and you might look at a couple, but you're like, that's just bikini pics. It's not nudity, But
Yeah.
but it's still lusting, right? So but you start justifying why it's okay, or
Right.
like gluttony. I just love to eat, man. That's my thing, and it's a problem a lot of times, right? But I'm like, I ate a light breakfast. Like I can eat this huge lunch, I can go nuts on this, and I start justifying. But that's the term. You justify yourself straight to hell because you'll always find a reason why it's okay for you. But if you're really centered right, you start to know, okay, no, I'm pushing a line I don't need to push, but the blessing of this whole exercise, and this is what we kind of talked about last week in our Bible study, is there's always grace, right? And you don't sin because there's going to be grace at the end, which is why I left the Catholic Church. Kid, the Catholics,
Ooh.
you could be debaucherous all weekend, man. Then you go to church on Sunday, confess your sins, and hey, clean slate, start over, baby.
Good to
Yeah,
go.
exactly. But that's not the way it should work. And so, but there's always grace. Even at your worst, he'll still love you and he'll forgive you if you just ask him, And so,
I would like to think that you wouldn't go to hell for eating a few extra muffins, so I would just like to make that clear.
oh man, I've got to start dieting now then to get myself out of it. Yeah.
No chance.
Yeah.
If you're going to Coastal, there's no way you're ignoring those baked goods. It's impossible.
I would feel better if Brad put some kind of scripture on the cup, but no, I'm just kidding. No, there's no chance.
The closest he has on there is life's too good, life's too short for bad coffee.
Yeah, that hippie. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, it's certainly it's something I struggle with a lot because I used to say alcoholism, right? Those guys are putting their life on the line. They're hurting other people when they drive, all kinds of stuff, right? There was always a reason why I found alcoholics and drug addicts to be dangerous. And I was like, well, I mean, I eat a lot, but it's not hurting anybody. Who's getting hurt by me eating a lot? Well, but if I do it to a point where it impacts my health and then I either die of a heart attack or I limit my ability, now my children and my wife are suffering. I'm no longer the provider for them. My kids don't have a father who can engage with them. So it's not selfish for me to think that way, right? But I would justify it and say, oh, it's not hurting anybody. Yeah, I'll have this whole pizza. This is great. I love it. Who's it hurting? Well, yeah, no, it's build up. So I always got to be mindful and just moments of weakness, man. That's it. We all deal with it.
You're making me weak over here talking about a full pizza. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, I know. I was
out of all the sins, that one's difficult to ignore.
Tough. Pizza's good, man. Pizza's
It's easier for me to ignore because I'm super lactose intolerant compared to you, which is the most egregious version.
Yeah. I really thought
you're just uncomfortably lactose intolerant.
Yeah. But I I will say I just found out I can eat flounder and catfish, and that man has got me on cloud nine. I have a weird fish allergy, right?
Oh,
Never had it before, and then like in 2011, I went offshore fishing with some guys, and we caught like 40 something grouper, snapper, triggerfish, like all those bottom fish. And yeah, went in the hospital like twice from eating like two of the fillets, like just out of the blue, got sick, and
oh my God, that's awful.
yeah, I went to an allergist, and they were like, you're allergic to bass, shrimp, and basil, and I'm like, all right, well, you're a quack because I eat basil all the time, nothing, shrimp, never. I just had the
What?
grouper and got sick, so there might be some legitimacy.
That's crazy.
Bass and shrimp, shrimp and basil, I'm still legit. There's nothing there, but the bass
We've
part,
tested that out.
oh yeah, yes, multiple times, I'm clear. But the grouper and snapper, man, is like putting me down, and thank God nothing's ever been like throat closing, like anaphylactic, but it's just hives and it's very uncomfortable. But I asked the doctor, I was like, well, how do I know what the scope and what the range of fish is? And he was like, just try different ones and see how they react. And I was like, that was terrible advice. So
Literally just fuck around and find out.
yeah. So I've been like literally going down the list and checking the boxes. So like tuna and salmon were good. Been eating those forever. But I've been jonesing for like flounder and catfish. I've been seeing them like on Instagram, like fried. And I'm just like, I want that. So we went for my mom's birthday Saturday night to Oscar's, and they had fried fish and shrimp and was flounder. So I was like, I'm gonna do it. Like, I'm going home after this. If I gotta pop a Benadryl, I'll pop a Benadryl.
Fair.
So yeah, I'm calling him a Benny, pop my Benny. But so we go and I eat it, and man, I wake up the next day and like fine, nothing, and I'm like, oh, thank God, sweet, so I can have flounder. Then Sunday, we were sitting at home, and I was like, I want catfish, and my wife was like, well, let's find it. And so we found it at Shug's on Central, which, by the way, if you haven't been, please go. It is amazing. It's
I'm not a fish guy.
oh damn. Okay. Well, it's soul food. I think they have other stuff, but I got the catfish fillets. Dude, I was waiting on bated breath, and I was like, I'm gonna eat these, but like I'm gonna bear the consequence, right? And I put some hot sauce on it. I ate it. They were incredible. And I woke up the next morning like Tom Hanks and Big. I was like, yes, I'm good. Like, I'm back. So I was super excited and was definitely like, I'm back. I can eat this fish. So
Oh, that's great.
so happy. So yeah, I'm super excited.
I've never heard of that. That's interesting.
It is. So I think it's the bottom feeders, like this new, everything that's, we find in a certain footage of water with the reefs and all that I don't know what it is, but grouper used to be my favorite.
You can actually tell a difference in the fish flavor.
Me, no.
All right, so like fried flounder, does that taste different than like fried tuna to you?
I don't think I've ever had fried tuna, but yes, actually, yes, it would. Those, yes, I can taste the difference in a flounder and a tuna.
Interesting.
I can taste the differences in fish. I just don't know why I react to them the way I do. Like, it has to be something in their diet or their DNA that just makes me break out in hives.
I'm still very surprised by that, but also more surprised that you can taste the difference in fish.
Oh my God, yeah.
I don't have a palate to save my life.
Oh yeah, no.
I can barely taste even what I'm making myself, so.
Yeah, no, like tuna definitely, the way you should have it, in that raw or seared, quick sear, like a medium rare. It's got a certain like salinity and flavor to it. Salmon's very fishy.
Gross.
But
Stop it.
yeah. No,
Let's go back to pizza.
Let's go back to pizza. Pizza's awesome. Pizza's amazing. There's no bad pizza. Oh, yes, there is pineapple on pizza.
Okay. No.
So
Pineapple on pizza is so good.
I'm going to say this.
With ham?
I'm going to say this on camera. The fat guy in me doesn't mind pineapple on pizza because the sweet and salty combo, I can appreciate it.
Okay, thank
But
you.
as a purist, as an Italian, I do hate to admit that like
Okay,
that's a
that's fair.
topping that goes legit. Like I would eat it. It wouldn't be my go-to if that makes any sense.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So the fat boy in me would sit and have a piece with you because it's at the house. But
Yeah.
the Italian in me would be like, let's go another authentic topping first.
I understand. I've never met a single or heard a single Italian even remotely acknowledge pineapple as a topping.
Oh no, some of them will like my family over there will scream at you if you even suggest it. Like it's not even worth bringing up.
If I've had like authentic Italian pizza, I'm pretty sure I would be on the same page. There's no Italian in me. However, I do love pizza. I've got to take my own medication to eat pizza.
Yeah.
But I don't even think I've had like legit pizza.
There's no. you're too close to the whatever Sangaree pizza, whatever it is, man. They've got good pizza. Like, well, at least what I grew up with, like in New Jersey, it's right in that Food Line shopping center, down the street here. Um, it used to be the Italian Bistro.
I mean, I've had Italian bistro pizza before.
Okay, well now it's new owners, but still just as good.
I've had the Knightsville
But
version.
they have a Sicilian pizza. That's what I always get when I go there.
Sicilian pizza's good.
You ever had it?
I have had
It's
it.
amazing. That's
But,
my
I mean,
favorite.
that counts?
Oh, it counts.
All right. I guess in my brain I'm picturing like going to like a New York or New Jersey, you know, I'm talking about like a pizzeria kind of thing.
Well, if you got a cheese pie
Where they're
from them,
screaming at
that
you.
would be it. I mean, it's just basic cheese. You fold it in the middle and chomp on it. But if you go to Italy, their pizza's different. They don't cut it, nothing like that. Like you got to tear it up and eat it, and it's
That's
just
fine.
it literally is just a very plain tomato sauce and fresh buffalo mozzarella.
I guess that's kind of where I'm going. Is
Yeah.
The ingredients that are used.
Oh, yeah.
You can still use the same ingredients, but are they the same quality?
No,
And that's
no.
what I'm like.
You
We're
go to
getting
Italy-
different flavors. I think.
Yeah, if you go
because
to
of
Italy
that.
and get mushrooms on your pizza, like it's wild mushrooms that they just toss on there. Like if you go here, they're probably
great.
chopping open a can and draining the water, and then like yeah. No, Italy's very much minimalist. The
Hey,
less you
that's-
got to
that's
the less you
fine.
got to do to it, the better, because you shouldn't have to do if it's done right. You shouldn't have to do much to it, and I appreciate that.
I mean, the whole culture, I feel like, is that way. And I would love that.
Um,
Let me just go and do the least amount of living possible, but also the most at the same time.
yeah, I'm probably gonna get shot for this, but like I did enjoy going to Italy with my family. We had a good time.
That's great.
I have family who still lives in Sicily, so I enjoyed visiting them and seeing like how my dad grew up and like that culture over there.
Ballin'.
I missed America though. I was like, give me my blasting
Okay.
AC, my freezer full of ice, and give me like just some normal soda that's been in a refrigerator, because this heat ain't working.
Did
So,
you ever watch Anthony Bourdain's
yes,
shows?
all the time.
Yeah. So I loved watching those.
Yeah.
And they were kind of relatively new. Literally, it was within like a year of him passing, which is, or whatever.
Yeah, right.
It
Yeah.
was very disappointing. So I'm like, I had just fallen in love with this show and
yeah.
the cooking and the documentary and just the connecting to people, which was phenomenal. The way that he was able to talk to people and enjoy such like interesting culinary things and get the whole culture, but all based around the food, was just fascinating. And I loved it. And I don't even know where I was going with it, so much from the fact that like I feel like when you're there, it's easy to get sucked into such a casual like living and whatnot, and how different it is in America. I don't even know, because I've never been to Italy, so it's hard to really truly compare. So I'm getting a lot of like over the seas views and perspectives. So I can see how you want the familiarity of what you're used to versus what is over there.
Well, the difference in the two, from my experience of being in both. Now, Sicily I went to in like 2009, so a long time ago. Italy I just went to in 2020, 2021. It's right after like they opened everything up for COVID. But
Oh yeah.
and we went to different parts. We drove all the way from Florence down to Sorrento. But in America, we have all of our conveniences and all the technology, and we're very spoiled. I'm just gonna say it, but it's, you know, I appreciate
100%.
the spoiled part of it, but we're spoiled. You know, we find things to appreciate here. Like we have to search for like authentic things to appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
They appreciate what they have. It's the difference, right? So them sitting in the front of their houses, or sitting in their campagnas, or just walking down the street to the cafe and like seeing the neighbors, like that minimalistic life that's their joy, right?
That's so
Because
nice.
they see. But here's the difference. I told somebody else this last week. You know, the one thing we don't grasp, we took our kids to Pompeii. In Charleston, you're only ever going to experience something that's been maybe here since 1600s or
Oh, yeah.
1700s. Like you're never going to go much more past that, because they were the colonists were the ones that came over and built things. You know, Indians didn't live with any buildings. But even then, man, I mean, like, think about it. This, I want to say during the Revolution, I don't know much about Southern history, but buildings didn't get erected until a certain point, right? And so,
And most of the time, a fire burned them all down.
whatever, yeah, something like that. But in Pompeii, I literally was resting my arm on a wall that was made of some kind of stone that somebody put there in, whatever time it was established, BC,
Like some absurd time.
Yeah, I mean, there were still the chariot tracks and the cobblestone road from when the horse and buggies used to run up and down the middle of the town.
That's wild.
Now, granted, some of it got bulldozed by the lava and all right with the volcano, but like the parts that didn't get like devastated, you still can see. And I'm just like, I can't believe this road is here for over 1,000 or 2,000 years. And I-26 has all the issues it has in like 60 years of existence.
Get it together, Eddie.
I know, yeah. But it's just, it blows me away that you can connect with that timeline in real time. You know what I mean? And then
I understand what you mean. I've never been in a situation where I've seen such history right in front of my face.
Yeah.
Charleston is literally the most historic area that I've been to.
And it's one of the oldest. I mean,
Yeah, which is great.
No, it is.
But at the same time, I really need to get over there.
Yeah, I mean, we went to Paris, the same
that.
thing. Like you're going to Paris and you're seeing things that were put up like at the beginning of civilization, and you're just like, wow. I mean, you can imagine. Obviously, it's modernized, but there's some things you look at and you're like, this was here because a king at a certain point had it put in place for his commute. So, like, you're looking at things from monarchies like way back, and you're just thinking it blows you away that A, it's still sound and functioning, and then B, you just try to picture like what that was like back then, and it's not something you think about here, But again, going back to the way they live, man, it's to them. We have to find things, I think, to appreciate, right? Like. Life gets busy for us. You said earlier in our conversation you're a hiker. So you've got to go to the woods. You've got to go to the mountains. You got to drive 3 or 4 hours to a good mountain spot and find a trail and walk and just be in peace with yourself, look at nature, stuff like that, right? But you got to make the effort to do it.
Yep.
Every day for them is kind of like that. Now, they have their bills and all their other issues at work or whatever, right? But being outside for them and just living the life and eating the food. They buy food for the day. They don't go grocery shopping at an IGA or a Food Line or something. There is no stores like that. They go to a market. They can buy their produce for a day or live where my dad's village was. They came to them. So, like, we stayed with my great aunt, and in her house, I remember, God, it would be 7 a.m. or something crazy. We were sleeping just, and you would hear the horn beeping on a truck, and you're like, what the hell? And this guy would be screaming, pane, pane, and you go to the window and look, and he's driving a bread truck, and you flag him from your window, and he stops. You go downstairs, and you get the bread you want that you think you're going to use for the day, and you pay him, and he goes, and the next day he's back again, and then a fruit truck comes along, and then a dairy truck, and it's just like, that's what they do.
That's awesome.
But that's their life, man. Like, they don't overindulge. I mean, look, you have gluttony everywhere, right? But for the most part, they buy what they're going to use for the day. They don't go stupid on clothes and all that stuff like that. And then they really have a sense of community where in the evenings, late in the evenings, like when we're going to bed, they're getting back out and they're staying up till like 11 or midnight, and they're walking the town square and they're going to the cafes and they're eating late dinners, but they're communing with their neighbors,
I love that.
It's crazy.
It's a very different form of community.
100%.
Like a lot of this podcast has to do with building a community and being very focused on everyone in our town. And even like a nice aspect of Somerville is very community based. We do have that strong small town community aspect, despite the fact that we're rapidly growing. But maybe at some point it was like that, but that is just so culturally different. And right now, like, that sounds so nice, though. Like, I really, really like that. And that's great, because obviously it's so easy to overindulge whenever you have to buy groceries for as long as you can make it happen. When you have all those groceries lined up in your kitchen, you get a little extra hungry sometime, or you get a little extra bored, and you're like, oh, yeah, let me just go eat some of this food. I have it sitting here. Why not?
Well, they don't have the refrigeration either, so it'd be, they're limited.
That's weird.
Well, and I'll say that, yeah. So I want to speak to, like, I can't speak for every household there, right? But my dad's aunt, the house she was in, she didn't have a huge refrigerator like we did. I mean, she had refrigeration, but it wasn't like, it wasn't like, they don't really have freezers, so there was no ice. You're drinking warm soda like we were while we were there.
I have heard that.
Yeah, which was hard to get. And even in Paris was the same thing. Like, you're not really getting ice abundantly.
So their cocktails are wild.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh
It's
my
just
God.
wine everywhere.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's wine and water. Like you walk around with water and you're sweating it out. But she would buy what she needed, and only the important stuff went in the refrigerator. Like I remember, I'm lactose intolerant, like we talked about. She bought like a soy milk, but in a Tetra Pak that doesn't have to be refrigerated. Didn't need to go in the refrigerator. So I ate my cereal with that. But she had like Special K or Corn Flakes, whatever the Italian version was. But imagine like, and I don't know if it's because I was there during the town's patron saint's feast. So like, there's a Saint Cyril festival every August, and we were there for that. I got the indication it's always like that to a degree. But imagine like third Thursday every night.
That's amazing.
That's like what their town square was, right?
I
And if you didn't
love
want
it.
to, if you didn't want to participate, you didn't want to participate. You just stayed at your house. We'd walk 2 blocks and go to the middle of town, and everybody was out there talking, sitting in chairs, doing whatever. And my cousin and I would go get gelato in the cafe, and they had French fries on pizza, which is really weird. We're talking about people who scream at pineapple on pizza.
Yo, that's great though.
It is great, but I was like, where the hell did French fries on pizza come from? So
I love it.
yeah, but that's the thing we kept
I
laughing
haven't seen
about.
French fries on pizza ever.
Oh, it's crazy. We were laughing about it. Like, yeah, these people are losing their minds over pineapple on pizza, but they're putting French fries on pizza here. So
Savory and savory. It makes sense.
it's all right. Yeah, you might as well just go ahead and throw it all in one bucket. So,
God, I'm going to be starving by the time this podcast is over.
I know. But it's cool, man. It's going over there, experiencing different mindset than what we have here is important.
Yeah, and I think a lot of this podcast is about getting different perspectives, and that's a huge one.
Yeah.
A lot of the times when I talk to people, it's their position, their childhood, and their upbringing, the nature versus nurture aspect provide the different perspectives. Going to a whole different country and a different culture, that really provides a different perspective. Now, like I said, I love Anthony Bourdain. I love his shows, and I've watched a whole bunch of different aspects of it and everything. But, to sit across the table for someone and to hear those actually explained and talked to me, like experienced by somebody, is very different.
Sure.
And in a lot of ways, like I love America. I love my air conditioning.
Yeah.
Oh, I love my air conditioning.
Yeah.
Especially since you find out that like more Britons die from heat exhaustion than people in America do from guns and all this other stuff. I haven't fact checked that, but I have seen a lot of articles written about it.
Which is wild.
It is wild.
Yeah.
Because I feel
mean,
like
we're
that's
at a place in time where that shouldn't be a thing.
very easily overcount. Like,
I mean, I know they got weird outlets over there, but I'm sure they could make some air conditioning units
100%.
that plug into them.
And I love that because sleeping is so much easier when it's very cold and your body helps and all that other stuff.
Oh, dude, my marriage almost ended over a night in Paris of being hot. Yeah. And I mean, I'm being funny, but we were like at each other's throats. Like it was that hot, and the air conditioning in the hotel wasn't doing the job. And
You have to sleep next to somebody.
Oh, man.
It's like sleeping next to a furnace.
we got into a room like this size, and we were in downtown Paris, and I opened the French doors to the balcony to get a breeze. But it was downtown Paris, so it was just constant murr, murr, and like people singing and partying. And Bridget was just like, I cannot sleep. I was like, figure it out. I'm sweating. Like, I'm not doing this. And she was like, it's too loud. Please close the door. And I'm like, no. We're at each other's throats. And finally I caved in because I'm a good husband. I shut the doors.
The only answer is to get drunk and join the people on the streets. I don't know what you were thinking.
No, I would have been mugged easily. Yeah.
It's just really cool to get that different of perspective. And literally everything we've talked about today is not at all what we planned on talking about. But I think it still fits in such a really interesting and authentic way about the point of the podcast. Because a lot of people haven't been to Paris. They haven't been to Sicily or Italy. And it's really cool and interesting.
Yeah. No, I agree. The experiences are fun.
Yeah, I would like to switch to one of the other
Yes,
topics.
no, please do. I railroaded. I apologize.
No. Please don't ever apologize because this is natural flowing and great conversations. The only difference right now is that I have to pee
Oh, yeah, good.
because we've been enjoying snake bites.
What's Dr. Phil say?
Yeah. So we will take a. What does Dr. Phil say?
We'll be
something?
right back. Every time. Have you ever seen that?
Dude, no. But that was such a good Dr. Phil impersonation. I love it.
I'll show you after the podcast. So yeah.
It happens. I think we all hit our limit, and it took me a long time to actually catch my limit. Because whenever I started like getting more comfortable and talking to people, and I started this podcast, and I realized I'm like, I'm going to actually have to talk to people.
Yeah.
And then I realized the benefits of reaching out and talking, and that it made me feel better talking to other people, and I actually gained a lot perspective in my own, like, bettering of my own life by talking to everyone else. I also realized that I wasn't impervious to the life that I curated,
Right.
and that I would hit a wall. And then if I tried to push past that wall, it didn't go well. And so it'd be like very curt and like just like, no, shut the fuck up. Like, we just keep going, that kind of thing. And like, and even in my mind, I would hear this voice and be like, what?
Yeah.
Where did that come from? But I wouldn't have like the energy to be the person that started the evening, if you will. And I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
this
I
is
get that.
weird. It's almost like when your blood sugar drops and
Sure.
you're like, I have no energy to even be a nice person.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Minus the
do it.
blood sugar. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there have been moments where I've had to like realize and capture it, and I'm still not good at it. I think even like earlier this year, there was a moment and I thought I was okay. And then I talked to people later and they're like, yeah, no, you were an asshole. I was like, oh, shit. I thought I made it. I thought I made it through. And it's like, that really, really sucks. And so like, none of us perfect. But I try to be more extroverted than I ever thought I could be at this point.
Well, I know you got to get to the next topic, so I'll say this last thing. The one thing I appreciate about what you do, I think you do an excellent job hosting this, just because you ask the good questions and your delivery is really good. That's engaging. But also notice to identify like your art and your like social media videos are your expressive way to kind of be yourself, like without the experience of having somebody else making. You know what I mean? Like you are pretty open then. It's kind of cool to watch because like you're jovial, like you're humorous and you do all these funny skits. But also it allows you to be that way too because there's nobody looking at you or bantering with you. You know what I mean? So you don't have to worry about the introvert part of you coming out with the dialogue and the other person. But it's fun to watch because you see a side of you that most people probably won't see just bumping into you at the coffee shop. You know?
Fair.
So I do like I like watching your content. It's just fun.
Oh, thanks, man.
Good job
I like
with it.
that. Yeah. All right, real quick.
Yeah.
Maybe not so quick. I really don't know. The whole night's been a little derailing in a great way, though.
Yeah.
Fantastic way. The one aspect that I really wanted to talk about tonight,
Yeah.
that we can finally get to, as long as your wife's not yelling at you
Nope.
right now, which is a topic that I had on the list for a long time.
Yeah.
And the one that you pinpointed, which was great, because I was like, oh, yes, finally someone wants to talk about this. If you had to get rid of an emotion, what would it be?
Yeah.
And I can start if you want me to start, because mine's different from yours from our little pre-conversation.
I'm okay. You deliver the question however you want to, and I can answer it. But yeah, but if you want to start, you can start too.
All right.
Yeah.
For me, it's anger.
Yeah. Let's talk about that then.
It's been an issue for me for a very long time.
Okay.
And it's not even like so much.
Well, don't waste good content off camera, man. Get this shit.
I mean, I know, right?
Yeah.
Because this is probably the deepest part of the conversation evening. Jesus, had a couple snake bites, if you know what I mean. Anger has been very interesting in my family.
Mm-hmm.
It comes from both of my parents, and I don't mean to throw any of my parents under the bus. You
Sure.
know, a lot of us deal with it. I dealt with it a lot. It's been something that's been forced down a lot in myself, something that I knew wasn't like a great thing, something that you're like, all right, no, we need to create a controller for this for a long time, which is worse because then it explodes and it becomes a really uncontrollable situation at that point. We're talking about like ruined doors, holes in walls, bloody knuckles. I remember one time this dude was late for a poker night, and we were supposed to meet him outside of Somerville High School, and I punched one of the no parking signs so many times that there was blood all over it, which was ridiculous. And that, I mean, we're not even talking about alcohol. There's no drugs. There's nothing.
Yeah, it was just all emotion.
All emotion. It was just all the fact that I couldn't control what was going on. And for a long time, anger was like a beast inside of me. It was like an aspect of me, and I didn't want to let it go. In the sense that so much of my life, going back to like the introvertedness and everything that I experienced growing up, I never really felt strong. Never really did anything to feel strong, except when I was super pissed off. It was the only time I felt powerful. The only time I felt like no one could touch me. It was the only time that I felt like I had a leg up on somebody else. And so I liked that aspect of me. And I kind of used it as a weird tool, except afterwards. And it kind of like carved out a piece of me every single time. And so the moment it was over, I felt shallow. I felt like less of who I actually was. I didn't feel like I gained anything. Well, you never gain anything from anger.
Sure.
It's a hard conversation if you were trying to convince me that you get some benefit from being angry. And even in the event that you're trying to defend someone that deserves to be defended.
But that's not angry.
Yeah, exactly.
That's loyalty. Yeah.
Right. And then, as you grew up, I understood that exactly as that. Is that the way I felt wasn't something specific. It was coming from something else. And
Sure.
it was manifesting as this. And so growing up, and even to the point, like with even the last few years, I still had moments where I lost it. And, the feeling afterwards of shame, I think, is important.
The reflection period.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where you realize that when you lost it,
Yeah. You weren't your best self.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, like, you say things that you don't mean. You hurt people that you don't mean to hurt. And you really can't, like, explain that
Yeah.
in a way that is you, but in a way it's not you. In a way that's coming from a different aspect of you that you just need someone to, like, understand an aspect of you. And it's very, it sucks. I'd get rid of that.
It's the most untailored part of you. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we all possess a little bit of stuff like that, right? But that's just an emotion that you hadn't gotten control of yet. And I say that because I have a cousin who is like that, but it's just we all get angry. It's a natural thing. But it dominates a percentage part of you because you don't know how to have control of it yet. It expresses itself in a different way. And I'm with you. That's a time where it's probably most damaging because you don't have control of it, right? So you say things in the moment, then you look back and you're like, it happened to me 2 years ago, man. I said something that was unsavory and I made a comment that I shouldn't have made to somebody and like was very damaging. And I had a lot of people show me grace in the moment and forgive me and, help me own it. I owned it immediately, but it was disrespectful to my wife and my friends in my Bible study group and another friend and all that. And it was just like, damn, like that's not me. You know what I mean? And dude, I cried for 2 days about it because I just know I'm a father to 2 daughters. I'm a husband to this woman. Like, I'm a friend to these people. And I just did something that was very shameful and I had to own it. That's the only way I could get past it was to own it. And, and if they forgave me, they did. If they didn't, they didn't. That was their choice. But no, I messed up. I just, but yeah, the anger part. So the hard part with the anger is we all have triggers, right? Yeah. And I've got one specific, and it's just, and I had a conversation about this on Friday with somebody. There's something that really just, and from my past, that really bothers me, and it causes me to kind of respond without thinking. And I'm not saying it's right, and I'm not saying it's wrong, man. It's just I think there's a suppression we have, and I think there's a reason we don't address things. But I think we talked about this last podcast. When you have a support group and you have friends who you can talk with, that really helps. And like, you have to be able to share those things, and you have to be able to kind of address the problems that we have and say, okay, look, I know I do this. I know I messed this up. So I need to figure out how to make it right. And, you're talking about some things you said that hurt some people,
Dude, I've ruined friendships.
Yeah. And
I've said such terrible things. To here's some of the things that you've said back, and you're like, I don't even remember. Like, I can't even imagine the situation of which I would say those things. You're like, oh no, you literally said those things, and it is Oh my God, it hurts so bad.
And so no, and I'm not. Please no, I'm not saying this about you specifically. It's in all of us, right? But anger is probably the most selfish emotion because when you're angry,
100%.
you're going to say what makes you feel better. And the
Mhm.
worse the comment, the worse the criticism, the better you feel because now you've just taken the negative off of you and put it onto somebody else, right?
Mhm.
You've deferred the pain to somebody else. Well, that's great. You feel good in the moment. Then you start settling and you're like, damn it. I was just really a jerk to that person and I feel terrible for it, right? But in the moment, you felt great. And I hate to go back to this kind of, and I hate to equate it to this. That's the only thing I got right now. But like when you're dieting, when you eat something in the moment, you feel great for eating that pizza, right? But you look back and you're like, oh, why the hell did I eat that thing?
I like
But
that, yeah.
it's reality. We're selfish. In that moment, we want to feel as good as we can feel because somebody else just made us feel bad.
Yep.
And it's terrible because I'm guilty of it as well. Like when somebody gets one on me, I'm like, ooh, no. Yeah, and it's an ego and pride. I think men suffer worse from it because of male pride and ego.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, you're not gonna make me feel bad. I'm gonna turn this right back around on you. You know?
Yeah. I mean, especially since, like, for me, it wasn't even like someone else pinpointing something towards me. It was always self-inflicted.
But it still made you feel good.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so is me projecting such horrible things that I keep telling myself over and over again. And then to see someone say something, I was like, oh. And then I would cast it out.
Yeah.
So it was even worse. Because a lot of times the people aren't even they're not even in a situation that they deserved it. Now, this is many, many, many years ago. And a lot of times alcohol is involved. So there's even less
Sure.
inhibitions.
Oh yeah.
It was just a horrible nightmare. And it is the seed of so much self-harm that I had in my life was because of these things.
Yeah.
It didn't start off that way, and I'm sorry that I took this away from you.
No. You didn't take anything away from me. No, it's good to hear. I mean, look, honestly, man, like some of the stuff you're saying has resonated with me, but it was a while ago. You know, same thing though. I remember college age area, like after that, just yeah, especially with alcohol. You know, you go out with friends, you're drinking.
Yeah.
We were downtown Charleston a lot on the weekends, and I wanted to have fun. Nobody was going to get in the way of that, you know? So I'm drinking, I'm having fun, and if somebody had something different, like, I became that guy. And, but that meant hurting your feelings at any cost. I didn't care. You know, like, you weren't going to take my joy, and I was a jerk. And same thing. Friendships got affected. Some non-existent today, but it sucks looking back at it. But it also, I will give you some kind of relief to know that acknowledging it and understanding it makes you a better man today. And that's, I think, the most important thing to pull away, right? Like, we all have something we can look back at and say we regret, but there were times where, yeah, I was just, and look, some people might even say that about me today. I don't know. I hope not to be that guy, but there might be people who look at me and be like, he's a son of a bitch. And, but back then I certainly remember certain people I was just very selfish about, like with me, and saying, hey, here's what I want to do. Here's what we're going to do. And if you don't like it, tough, you know? And there would be certain events we were at and getting in fights or getting upset with people. And yeah, it's tough, man. But I joke a little bit because you're talking about some of the stuff, and like you're talking to a guy in an Italian family, man. All we do is yell at tables and like yell at each other. So to a point,
I mean, raising your voice is different from feeling like anger to a point of rage, I guess.
no, and fair, but it's just I'm gonna be 100% honest with you right now. Like, as a father, you know, like I feel, and I joke about the Italian thing, but it's real. Like, I feel like bad sometimes because the Italian comes out of me, and rather than talking to my daughter like a parent, even though I'm disciplining them, but rather than talking to them nurturingly, right? Is that right? Is that right? No word?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Anyway, in a nurturing tone, the Italian comes out of me and I yell. And to be honest, like, I see it in my 15-year-old now, man. Sometimes she yells and I'm just like, and look, she ain't yelling at me. Like, we'll have that discussion, but I can see the temper in her that I have, and it kills me because I put that in her. You know what I mean? Like, I have to live with that, and that bothers me, and it's something I bear, and I don't tell many people about. But I'm like, man, she's too sweet a girl to have that in her heart, but it's because of growing up, the way I would yell or the way I would use my tone or my family, the experiences she would have. she would see us yelling with each other, even though we all love each other, but that's our nature. We yell at each other, right? And so her responses can be that way sometimes. And I'm like, it should have never been. Like, that's on us, you know? But the rage part, man, it's amazing to me with all the emotions that we possess. The rage takes off from 0 to 100, like that.
Instant.
Yeah.
And also unstoppable.
Yeah.
At that point, like.
And we know our triggers.
Yep.
But we can't prevent it.
No.
Like, I know going into it, if this person says this, it's going to make me upset. And even though I prepared myself mentally, I'd do exactly what is forecasted. You know what I mean?
That's why it was rough for me talking about in the beginning that I didn't want to even let go of it.
Yeah.
Because I felt so much confidence and power from the rage that I was feeling. It's like I finally feel strong.
Yeah.
Which was worse because then it was kind of addictive.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you've been drinking, you don't care about the reasons that you don't want to feel it when you're sober. And it was...
Rationale's out the window.
It was so much... And I'm glad I'm well past that. And all I hope and seek for now is peace and calm and understanding. And that is my goal rather than... feeling that no one can fuck with me. That's ridiculous to think about that in my age now. Like, I understand back in the day it was very different. I was young.
Yeah.
But it's hard to explain that to someone young, I think.
No, it is. That's what I'm saying. Like, when we're young, we have pride, we have ego, we have all that stuff, right? Because, I mean, God, I hate to equate it this way, but like, I just watched something earlier, so my mind's on it, but you look at the animal kingdom, right? I mean, that's how males assert themselves with females and other stuff is they challenge the other male, right? And it's all about dominance and who's stronger. And like, so I think we do have that in our DNA where we have to prove ourselves as the alpha. And it's stupid to think about, you know what I mean? Like, God knows, man, we have so many relationships in our lives that we can coexist with. And like, I love that guy. Like, I don't want to challenge him. But if it's confronted in front of you, you're like, yeah, I'm not backing down. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not losing that. Like, yeah, exactly. Hulk smash. Like, that's where you want to go.
Or Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Still Hulk.
Yeah, still Hulk. But no, it's crazy. I do think that's in our DNA. The one thing about it for me with the anger piece is I struggle with it because it does, man. There's something about it. Like, and I got to say, look, something personally I have to work on is cursing. Like, that's a personal goal for me. I want to get better on, right? And my wife gets on me every time. Like, she just...
Really?
Oh, my God, man.
I feel like you're so good.
Oh, no. If I'm comfortable around somebody I know or I'm with her, man, like, it's...
Are we not comfortable?
Well, I am, but I'm being mindful because I'm on this podcast. I'm being honest here. But she hates it, and I will, like... She was like, why do you use that language? And I'm like, there's a relief in using the F word. Sometimes that is like a stress release for me. And
That's
I'm like,
a scientifically proven thing.
I get it. And so, but like when I use a vulgarity and I hate that about me, but I'm like, man, I get so much relief from it. But it turns her off. You know, she just, because it comes across to her as uneducated and all that. So the rage part, right? When you rage out, it's your relief. Like, that's the way you deal with that emotion. And it's not a healthy way all the time. But for guys like you and I with tempers or with whatever, that rage is also like our relief. We just have to find another way to address it. So like, if we know it's going to get to that point, okay. In the moment, it's easier said than done. But if it's something that's stewing on your brain and you like, just say example, something happened at work and you're mad about it. Don't bring it home, right? You call a friend, you call somebody you're close to and say, I got to chat. Like, I got to get, you know, and I do that all the time now. I mean, God, man. I've got a close contact list on my phone of people I'll call and be like, you got a minute? I need to talk to you, you know, and thank God for them because they'll talk me off a ledge in a minute. And you need perspective. You need to be pulled outside of your bubble. And it's almost like somebody's got to rip you out and just be like, look at what you're saying. Look at what you're doing and show you. And you're like, damn, okay, now I see it, you know?
100%. I literally had to thank Richard the other day. I'm like, hey, thanks for hearing me out. Thanks for being so open-minded that you don't judge me based upon what I just presented to you. I had to get this out. And usually I preface, I'm like, I got to rant. Which is nice because I know how to steer the emotions and the feelings. And so it's not so much that I need to get rid of it because anger is such like a not like a causality, which is not a word. It's a result of
Yeah.
something else. The a lot of times it's the lack of control, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If I'm just kind of tossing something out on the spot. And so, like, now I understand where that emotion is coming from. And
Sure.
like, I just need to get this out, release a steam valve, which is great because beforehand I didn't know.
Yeah.
No one has ever told me this. I never had any kind of guidance
Right.
to control this. And like, I'm not trying to like throw shade to my father, but there wasn't like, or any of my parents, but there wasn't a lot of like, hey, if you feel this way, try this
Oh, yeah,
instead.
no. Well, dude, how old are you?
35.
Close enough to be the same
Oh
generation.
my God, they had
Our generation's different, dude.
barely even 20 when they had me. And I'm
No,
like,
no, but I'm saying like you and I age group different. There was no feelings. Nobody cared about your feelings. It was right or wrong, right?
Right,
And so
yeah,
your
yeah, yeah.
parents were like, there was no, it's okay, buddy. Like tell me what's bothering you. It was like, suck it up, Buttercup. Like, I don't care what you think. You're doing this. You know what I mean?
right. And
And-
that's not to say they didn't care about us. It's just
No. I think
yeah.
they cared abundantly.
Yeah.
But this whole safe space thing we deal with today, like where you can't say certain things, you can't do certain things, like
Right.
they didn't care about that. To them, like they went to work every day, they had to put food on our table, they had to put a roof over our head. That was their priority, right? And so if you cried about this or that or got upset about this and that, yeah, suck it up. Don't care. Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
No, and I think oh damn, I was gonna say something, I lost my thought. Sorry, go ahead. I cut you off.
I don't think you did you?
No, it was something about the
Oh, you just wanted me to bring it back around so you could have time to think. I understand what you're
No.
playing.
It was
It's a
something
good
about it
game.
was something about the anger part, but I can't think of what the
Just
hell I was gonna say.
having the tools to understand and navigate.
Yeah.
It is easier now. Like now
sure.
that I know when it's coming on, I know the ways that I can curve it. If I need to go like use a sledgehammer and work something out, I can. And I understand like it'll be alone. I'm not damaging anyone. I'm not hurting anyone's feelings. I get the energy out, and a lot of times it's just energy. It's just a lot of energy. And crying is a big part of it. I cry a lot when I'm angry.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people do. It was very confusing when I was growing up. When I would see people get in fights and they're crying at the same time, I'm like, yeah, that's weird. You're fighting. Why are you crying?
Yeah.
But I understand it now.
Yeah.
It's the release of emotion because we don't know how to handle things. We're not always taught how to handle emotions. And it's one of the biggest missing pieces, aside from handling finances, a whole other subject. Emotions are just good luck. We're just going to throw you into the world.
I know what I was going to tell you because you just said something, but the biggest piece to the anger element, right? And this is the advice I would give my mentees, and I'm going to give you because I try to take it myself. Is I think the most important part is when you do have those moments where you lose control and you get in those fits. The accountability of it, right? The recognizing, okay, I messed up. Let me go own it. Let me apologize to who I offended. Let me atone for my actions. Like that does a lot, man. That's a level of maturity most people don't ever reach. You know what I mean? So it's okay to be angry, and we have to work on those kinds of things of where we take it. But owning it and having the accountability to know, hey, all right, that's on me. I blew up. I apologize. That says a lot too about somebody's character.
Absolutely agree.
It goes back to communication things and stuff like that. So, we see young men nowadays just wanting to fight for one, but some kids now are just taking it to guns, and which is crazy. But for my thing is they're quick to get upset when they get in trouble because they got caught. And I'm like, no, you messed up. That's why you got in trouble. Well, no, she's just got a problem with you. No, she doesn't have a problem with you. She got a problem with you because you're always in trouble. You have to own it. You can't move on, and you can't fix this until you own you're the problem.
Absolutely.
And I think that's missed in a lot of things. And look, I'm not perfect. Sometimes I look back and I'm like, yeah, okay, I was wrong. Like I got in my head and I was hell bent on being right, and I was wrong. And I've got to tell them, like, I'm sorry, that was me. But I've learned in my maturity that ownership, man, resolves so much.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah.
It's more important than being right ever,
Agreed.
because we're always going to be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be situations where we don't consider everybody's perspectives or all the elements to the pieces, and it's just like, all right, well, I was looking from my lens. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't think about this.
Yeah.
And it's okay to say you're wrong. There's nothing wrong with that.
100%.
And if you've got somebody in your life that's dogging you out for being wrong and always making you feel less than, then that probably doesn't need to be in your life. That's a person you probably need to remove yourself with. Our true friend is going to say, hey, man, it's good. I love you. Don't worry about it. You know what I mean?
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, too. Like, when you hear someone's like, hey, I get it.
Yeah.
You're feeling some type of way.
Yeah.
I know that's not you.
Right.
I understand. Or, just it's just the understanding and openness and being able to own yourself in that situation is super important.
But I got to be honest with you and tell you this too. Like, and you made this comment at the very beginning of all this, but like your spiritual journey, like your walk in your faith, is going to help you out a lot with that, man. And I've noticed, like, God, man, the sense of peace I've got from just giving it all to God and just telling him, like, hey, I need help. Like, being honest with him and open. My faith walk has just done so much for my temperament and so much for my mindset. There's a beauty in being able to say, okay, I messed up, and that's okay. Like, I own it. I'm fine. There's grace. I mean, I kind of started off with it, but there's other examples where I've certainly have made big mistakes and people have forgiven me, and I've got to be responsible enough to give that back, though. Like, if somebody's wronged me, I got to be big enough to say, okay, hey, I forgive you. But I think you're going to find with the anger piece that your walk is going to contribute a lot to your success.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the one thing you kind of want to hear after you've blown up or made a mistake.
Yeah.
Is that the other person kind of looks at you and is like, hey, I love you still.
Yeah.
I understand. I forgive you. Like, that's literally all I've ever wanted.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
Yeah.
And so you kind of start that off understanding that the highest power already forgives you. It is reassuring because you're not like a caged animal anymore. You're like, I reacted. And like I said, one of the biggest things in the beginning is not trying to react so much. So it's nice having an automatic forgiveness.
I'll tell you one person.
I feel like, hold on, before
yes, please.
Before you go on, that also means that you don't just get to blow up knowing that you're forgiven.
Yeah.
That's not how that works.
You don't get a get out of jail free card.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
You need to continually try to improve and be better. You just don't get to blow up and be an asshole and be like, oh, I'm forgiven. Like, nah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
No.
You need to be a better person.
It's personal accountability. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. No. I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. That just people who view it as they take advantage of that. They're the ones that they're corrupt in their heart, and it's just I do want to give a specific shout out on this subject to our very own Mayor Russ Touchberry.
Oh.
I made he's really, man, that guy is amazing about giving grace, and his heart is just postured so well. And I know he'll tell you all the time, like, that used to not always be him, right? But in the time that I've had a relationship and friendship with him, it's been great. And I mean, I made an ignorant statement a couple years ago, and I even pulled him aside one day. They came to our house for dinner, and I pulled him aside and I said, hey, look, I made this statement out just ignorantly, and if I said anything that offended you, or that you feel like you can't be around me or whatever, right? Like, I'll understand. And his response, I'll never forget it, was just like, nope, we're not going to change who we are because of a statement that was made. He's like, I love you where you are, and you and I are good, brother. And I was just, man, that meant the world to me, because I look up to that guy. I mean, I aspire the way he conducts himself and the way he holds himself. He has a standard of integrity that most men our age don't really have yet.
Yeah.
And so for him in that moment to tell me we're not going to change who we are for that, I'll be forever grateful for that statement. And he's a good dude, man. He's just, as a friend, he's probably showed me more grace than I deserve, but
I love that.
Yeah, he's a good dude. So that's I feel you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Got me tearing up.
I know. I'm trying to keep it in right now. I kind of took over. I didn't
No,
give you an
I
opportunity
love
to
it.
talk too
No,
much.
no, no. I
Yeah.
love it.
It's 8:40 right now, my dog.
Well, I'll answer the question that you asked, though, to be fair.
Okay, go ahead.
You said the emotion. What's one emotion you would do away with? Is that right?
Yeah.
For
If you had to.
Yeah, no. One I've always struggled with. I don't think it's a bad thing. That's the only thing. But I definitely don't love that I possess it. Is the emotional part. Like I get emotional pretty easily, and sometimes is anxiety an emotion?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go with anxiety then, because emotion. I think the tearing up and the crying is an effect of anxiety. So I'll say the anxiety
Okay,
piece.
interesting.
I do. I battle anxiety because several reasons. One, I want to control everything. You know, that's my issue, and then I get. I'm one of those guys at 0 or 100. I can't. If I'm not balls of the wall, I'm sitting on a couch stagnant. You know what I mean? And so my wife, she hates it and she loves it because she always says like she wants to take it easy. But when I take it easy, I take it easy. I'm going all the way easy, man. I'm like, you ain't moving me, right? Like, don't ask me to take out the trash or anything. Like, I just want to be relaxed. But I thrive in chaos, and that's a weird statement, but that's just how it is. The more that my plate is full, the more I just go harder. But that tends to get the anxiety up, and with the anxiety comes emotions and stuff like that, right? And so,
Absolutely.
and the part I don't like about it is, I think there's people who appreciate the authenticity of my reaction because it's hard you can't fake that, right? So when I go somewhere and I talk about the beacons or I talk about like something else we're doing or my kids, I'll tear up and I'll get emotional and it's hard for me to get through, you know? But I also feel like it comes off a little unprofessional, which I don't think it really does. It's in my head.
I think it's just
yeah,
the anxiety.
I think people love the genuineness of my reaction, but to me, I'm like, man, I wish I could just get through this speech, or I wish I could just get through this comment,
Yeah.
boldly and confidently, you know. And so it's a byproduct of anxiety. But anxiety definitely, I mean, God, man, there's been multiple times where I feel like I can't breathe right and all this other stuff like that, and I'm like, what is going on? Why are you? What's happening? And it could be the smallest thing, or it could be something that I've been subduing and burying, and then all of a sudden I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
100%.
that's been bothering me. I need to address that, you know?
It's good to have that awareness, though.
No, and it's, for man, I will say this, and I'm kind of grateful I have the doctor I do. Years ago I took Lexapro, like to help with the anxiety, and I remember I missed my medication, and I was like, I'll get it refilled later, not thinking much of it, and it got me like really sick, like with withdrawals, and I was like, oh yeah, I was like, uh-oh, because I didn't know you were supposed to keep up with it. I didn't think you had to, I didn't know if you stopped taking it, you got withdrawals.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, so it's that kind of medicine. So I remember I went to go see the doctor, and he was like, you can't stop cold turkey. Like, you need to be, you could kill yourself. And I was like, oh, Jesus, okay. And so, like, I had like flu symptoms there. It was really bad. So got my prescription refilled and took it, and I weaned myself off of it. Like, I started shortening my doses, cutting the pills in half and all that, until I was like, I'm never going to take something again that's going to have control over my body like that. Never really done drugs, anything like that. So I was like, I'm done. That's it. And so I lived my life without it for a while. And I mean, it wasn't, I had to learn how to deal with anxiety some. And then COVID happened and I got sick, and I really thought I was dealing with like just bad symptoms and after effects of COVID when they first came out. And I remember like they tested me for everything, and they were like, dude, you're healthy. Like, I don't know what you're experiencing or why, but it was always like I couldn't breathe. Well, the family doctor I see now was like, I'm going to prescribe you Lexapro. I know you don't like it, but we're going to try it, and it's going to see what happens. And I was like, He's like, listen, I have a plan to get you off of it soon. I just want to try something. And sure enough, that
Really?
inhaler, everything they gave me didn't work. The Lexapro stopped it because I was still having anxious moments about what I like. So I got COVID when it first came out. So like when I took myself to the hospital because I felt like I couldn't breathe.
Oh,
I mean, they came out in hazmat suits, like outbreak and everything.
Fair.
And I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, but like Wesley Donahue had it like 3 days before me, and he was texting with me, and like he was writing letters to his boys because he didn't think he was going to make it because of how bad he felt. So I was like, dude, are we about to die? Like nobody knew. It was so new.
100%. Yeah, it was just
Yeah.
complete ultimate
Right.
fear.
So like I was freaking out. I was like, man, are we about to die? Like, is this thing gonna get us? And so took myself to the hospital, and they were like, man, your oxygen's good, this and that. They took me for some scans, heart. They just didn't find anything. But I was always concerned, like, what if I can't breathe again? Like, and anyway, the Lexapro, it was anxiety, and I was like, huh. So I ended up taking myself off of it. Now that I knew it was anxiety, I was like, all right, I'm gonna deal with this again. But honestly, man, like lately, the past year, a year ago, I was doing some yard work and just busting my tail in the heat and all this stuff going on. I had another episode, and I was like, man, my heart rate's 190. I'm shoveling dirt. Like, what's going on? And drinking water. And he was like, the doctor's just like, man, I'm going to put you back on this. Like, there's no shame in this. And I told my wife, I was like, you know what? I even texted my wife and kids when I was doing the yard work, like, hey, I love you. Just in case I dropped in the yard. Because my grandfather died at 42 of a heart attack. So I was just like, it's in the family, right?
That's way too close.
Yeah, and I'm 43 at the time. So I was like, man, what if this happens? And so anyway, he put me back on Lexapro, and man, I've been on it since, and it's been fine. But there's a part of me that hates that I rely on it, but I'm like, you know what, it's okay. And I really struggled spiritually with it. And again, thank God for the guys in my Bible study group, but they were all like, dude, God made the people that made the medicine. God, you know what I mean? Like, there's no shame in that, like you're not saying God can't handle it. Like he created this outlet for you to be able to, and I took that and I was like, okay. And so I've been on it, and it's fine, man. I don't want to diminish my quality of life because I'm stubborn. And I'm like, you know what? If it helps me cope with certain things and keep this schedule that I like to put myself on while my family's not impacted poorly, then I'll go with it, And so it did help me too with my emotions and stuff. I've noticed, like the other day, I told you I prayed over our friend's kid who was going to college. Yeah. And in the past, I'd have been super emotional praying over him, right? But went through it like I was a pastor, and I was like, that's awesome. Now, I will say I go to church on Sunday, and 8 times out of 10 when they do the sermon and the worship music at the end, I'm tearing up, and my daughter's watching me tear up, and like she told me, you're going to make me cry. And I'm like, then cry. It's okay. Like, I'm crying because it's good. Like, I'm crying in this instance because I'm grateful for what I have. Like, this is not I'm freaking out moment. This is like just God's been good to me. I'm grateful that I have a wife who loves me, kids who love me, a job that compensates me well. Like, for what I have done in my past and for the way I have been in my past, I feel like I am blessed abundantly, right? So the emotions are a good emotion, and like, I don't necessarily want those to go away.
Yeah.
But you still want to get through some situations sometimes and be kind of strong and, like, I got this,
Yeah, like a crying sap.
But then again, at the same time, like, I've got a good friend who's told me he's never cried. We talk about funerals. He lost his grandfather, other people, like, never cried. And I'm like, oh, dude, like, I can cry at somebody's funeral if I don't even know him. And he was just like, yeah, man, never had that.
For free.
And I was like, well, I kind of envy that. And he's like, no, you don't want this. Like, to him, it was a plague, So it was interesting to see his perspective too. But that being said, because you just got emotional and I was starting to tear up with my story, it's healthy. It's an outlet. You know what I mean? Like, we just talked about the rage thing. Well, that's an outlet that helps you get rid of some of those feelings so they don't combust into something worse down the road. So I do appreciate my emotion. I just wish sometimes I could control it better.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's just the controlling aspect that I really don't like. I mean, experiencing anger or anxiety, I've got a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
So much so that I refuse to get medication.
Yeah.
Also, always been too poor to pay for it, so there's never been that aspect of it.
Sure.
But I think the acceptance and helps out in the understanding, and the understanding helps control.
Yeah.
And the sense of in the ways that you want it to be. But brother, I cry all the time. I'm a cry baby, if you will.
No, same.
And I don't care anymore. I used to care, and it used to come from some anger, and it used to come from just depression. And it used to come from whole different avenues. At one time, I had such an anxiety attack that I pulled over the side of the road and I threw up. So,
I don't think I know some people who are. Thankfully, I don't battle anxiety in that regard. But I will tell you, like the other day, I posted a story on Instagram, and it was how she thinks I see her, and it was like a teenage girl at a table, like the dad's view with her glasses at the beach side, or whatever. And he was like, but how I really view her, and it was all pictures of her, videos of her when she was a little kid.
Oh man.
And it played Stevie Nicks song Landslide. And my daughter, that's one of her favorite songs. And so, dude, I showed Bridget, and I was like, hey, look, and I was tearing up and all, and just like showing her that. And I was like, dang, man, that's like my daughter's favorite song. I'm thinking of my daughter.
Yeah.
And but I started tearing up and getting choked up, and she looked at me and she's like, my God, you were soft. And I was like, but you know what, when it comes to my wife and kids, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like,
And you should.
it's I'll cry all day for them. And it's just certainly there's parts of that, like, yes, the times I probably cry the easiest are when I think about she actually doesn't even know this, but my daughter came downstairs yesterday, and she even said, so I've always told her, if they ever get married, I want one of my kids to pick Cinderella to dance with them, daddy daughter dance, and then there's butterfly kisses those are the two I would love to have with them. She was walking downstairs and she was looking at her phone. She's like, oh, Dad, look at this. And then she was like, oh. And I said, what's wrong? And she showed me, and it was something, and it was Cinderella. And like, she was like, I'm about to cry. And I started tearing up, but she couldn't see me on the couch. And I was like, oh, but the fact, yeah, right. But the fact that she was about to tear up with it had me tearing up. And I was just like, but those were, again, good tears. Like,
Good tears.
I'm grateful,
Yeah.
So no, I do appreciate it sometimes, man. But in the moments like of a presentation, like I got to go talk to,
Bro, preach.
yeah, I got to go talk to Berkeley County's principals at September 3rd. And I'm just hoping and praying that when I go talk about these beacons, like I don't get emotional. Now, if I do, it is what it is, right?
Yep.
But every bit of me wants to go in there confidently and speak, or be articulate about what we do and how we can help, and not stop and just do the, excuse me.
Yep.
So yeah,
Just give me a second.
yeah, right. Because there's a story there that like my wife was mentoring a young girl, and it just recently got to where I don't have to tear about it anymore, but she asked the girl what she wanted to be when she get older, and the girl said, my dad always told me I would never be anything. And dude, I couldn't get through that story without tearing up, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, some dude told his daughter that, and I'm raising two of them.
That's hard right now.
Yeah. And I would have to stop, like Rotary. Like, I stopped, and I was like, I should have prefaced this whole thing with, I'm a crier, sorry. But yeah. But hearing that a grown man told his daughter that makes me livid. Yeah.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah.
Bad.
You see how you got teared up just me telling?
I did.
Yeah.
It hits too close.
Yeah. But that's that's what I would try to overcome.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I know it's hard to kind of like present yourself as confident and serious when you've got like an ocean in your eyes.
Well, it's funny. I'm thinking about it as you're doing it, but the Instagram reel I told you about, the landslide thing, I showed Rachel and Kylie at the coffee shop, and I was like, oh, look at this real quick. And I showed them, and Rachel was just like about to tear up, and she's like, oh, the 1-2 punch, and Kylie was just like, Jesus, Frank. And I was like, right, it's sweet. But it just had everybody all like all glassy eyed, and that's a good one. But that whole father making that comment to the daughter thing, you talk about rage, man. Like that's tears of rage for me, because I'm like, I can't believe somebody who has a blessing of a child told their child that. You know what I mean? There's so many kids, there's so many people in this world who wish they had kids, and we were one of them for a while. And to hear that a guy told his daughter that, what's that daughter going to grow up with? And I thank God that she's found herself in a group where my wife is mentoring her and talking to her. But like, it infuriates me that people take that responsibility so recklessly, and that just is shaping what our community is going to look like in 10 years from now, 20 years from now. You know what I mean? So
shout out to the Beacons. Yeah,
it's just, man. I mean, and I'm not even going to say me, dude. Our group is very blessed for the people we have serving in it. And so Berkeley County's coming on board soon. Hopefully Charleston will be not far down the road, but it's just, God, I thank God every day we got the people we do coming in and serving, because I don't know, to me, making a kid feel worthless my brain doesn't register and compute that, you know.
Lowest thing I can possibly consider.
Yeah. Anybody who doesn't enable or support a kid to be their best, to me, is low. I don't want to say what I'm really thinking, but it's just.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna get angry all over again.
Yeah. No. I get it. I get it.
That is the worst. Yeah.
We're having a seminar this weekend. I don't know when you'll put this out, but August 23rd, we're having a seminar for our mentors, and the K. Phillips Child Advocacy Center. I don't know if you know much about them, but God, they're an incredible organization that just really shouldn't exist. And I say that respectfully because they deal with kids that have been traumatized. When there's trauma in the home and all, the cops bring them to them, and there's an investigation and counseling and all that. But they see the most traumatic situations in our community, and but thank God for them, because they are working with those kids and putting them in situations that are going to be better for them. One of their counselors is coming to speak to our mentors just to educate them on, what you may hear, how to respond, stuff like that. He's an incredible guy, but that center is one of our community's most valuable assets, and it's the best kept secret, which kind of it should be for discretion.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I hate that it's as needed as it is, man. And
yeah,
but the people in that organ, like Kay Phillips runs that place, and she's an incredible woman with a good heart. People she have working for her, incredible people. The work they do, the thing that got, so again, going back to Russ invited me to a luncheon there years ago, and so I attended a lunch with him and kind of heard what they do. Dude, I left there, tears in my eyes, wanting to go kill. I'm sorry, scratch that. Wanting to go fight whoever I could, because I was like, I heard some stories, and then the thing that impacted me the most, and I've always taken this statement away, and I tell everybody this statement when I bring up this center, is the counselors that are on staff at her facility need counseling because of what they endure in their investigations. And I'm like, man, when you're a counselor who needs counseling, that's bad. And not bad like that they're doing something wrong, but it's bad that experience is happening in our community, right?
Yeah.
So I truly appreciate what they do, but man, you talk about rage, like I'll go to jail, for somebody doing that to a child. It just, oh man, it kills me. So while I appreciate what we do, the hope is what we do prevents her having to see more things down the road. You know what I mean? Or giving them the courage to speak out early, or to prevent some of the trauma they may endure, because I don't know, man. Again, just doesn't register with me.
Trying to stop the cycle.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So yeah. Rage. I feel you on it, dude. With the right topic. Yeah.
Crying. I feel you on it. Anxiety. I also feel you on it.
Yeah.
What a good point to end this the episode, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'm just going to continue to cry in front of the camera. So
maybe you'll get an Emmy.
Yeah. There's no Emmy for real tears.
No, dude, I appreciate the time. I always appreciate these conversations. They're good. You do a great job with this, but
thanks, man.
Any opportunity I could take to talk about the beacons and what's going on and just other stuff. I mean,
you're going to have to give me some time to recuperate after this.
No, you're good, man. You're good. But thanks for sharing the anger part. That's not easy. I know, like, as guys, man, we try to cover up a lot because it's the masculine way, but it's not healthy. So
it's a stupid way.
Yeah, it is. I appreciate you opening up with me.
Yeah, the ownership kind of comes along with the opening.
Yeah.
I think you can't really own a lot of what you've done if you can't at least admit it and talk about it.
Yeah. And I will say, especially on this podcast, so people hearing, but like, I don't know if you recorded what we were saying about how, like, we first started seeing each other on the coffee shop, and I just felt like you weren't somebody
At this point, I don't know.
It was fine. I'll say it again in case you didn't, but like, when I first saw you around the coffee shop, I felt like I was someone you didn't really want to interact with or exchange with. So I always say hello to be nice, but like, there was no context or no content there, right? Like, we just passed each other and said hello, but I'm grateful that you came around to dialoguing and exchanging with me, because, man, you're a good dude, and I think you do have a lot to offer. I think you do a great job with this. When I see your videos on your art, I think you do an amazing job with the humor. So like, it's cool to get to know you on that level. But
Thank you.
I'm glad you're opening up. And I don't know the angry Caleb. I know the jovial, fun Caleb. So
Well, I'm glad you stuck around
yeah, absolutely, man.
and made an effort, because otherwise I probably wouldn't have had the balls to talk to you. I was just too scared all the time.
No, it's good stuff, man. And I've watched the other shows you've done, and you've got good guests, and the dialogue's always great. So
Thank you.
yeah,
Well, you'll be back again.
awesome. Look forward to it. And then if the Beacons does one, you can come on that one and kind of talk about what we do.
That
and,
sounds great.
yeah.
I'm going to cry.
Because no, it's all good. I would actually love, man, and we need to square this up, but I would love to get you in front of the kids and talk about art. Like, I think.
Okay, I definitely won't cry if it's talking about art.
No.
That's
But
easy.
I think it would be cool for you to kind of come in and especially watercolor stuff like that I've seen you do.
Bring it on,
I
dude.
think that's in their wheelhouse, but I think you would be an excellent guest speaker to see some of these kids and just kind of promote and what's it called? Oh shoot.
Encourage.
Yes, encourage their interest and guide them responsibly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You've got a lot of examples, I think, not
Oh, I do.
no, but not detailed, but I think you've got a lot of good guidance for them of what not to do and how to do it the right way. Yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So I think you could be I think you can be an asset to some of these kids and to just say, hey, look, here's what I've learned. Don't worry about don't waste your time doing this. This is what you need to focus on.
It's just nice. It's very necessary.
Because you do the art. I'm gonna call it art too, but with the camera work and everything you do, I mean, like even this is all art, right? And these are what these kids.
Thank you.
Sadly, you and I grew up with tradesmen or doctors, lawyers, whatever. These kids see YouTubers and podcast guys. You know what I mean? Like this is what they aspire to be. And I'm not saying they can't do it, but they need to know that it's like an athlete, right? 1% of all the athletes go on to become something big.
Mm-hmm.
Probably it's the same statistic I'm willing to bet with YouTubers and podcasters and all that. Yeah.
I mean, pretty close.
Yeah. So, I think you'd be an awesome guest speaker. So we'll get that squared away.
That sounds great. I would love that.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, thank Frankie. I love that. Everyone, thank you for listening and joining in. Until next time, my friend.